Today's episode of Noise of the Broke Boys is brought to you by social distancing. Is there a dangerous zombie apocalypse pandemic going on outside? Or are you a pseudo-intelligent anti-genius that believes drinking Clorox will cure you of your ignorance and deplorable personality? Either way, social distancing should be your first line of defense against the dangers of these things. Remember to keep 6 feet away from all people and always wear a face covering. This will not only keep you both safe from transferring harmful, contagious diseases, but it will allow you to conceal your unsightly personality. For those of you already acting in a careful, respectful, and responsible way, thank you. Please carry on and stay safe. And now, on to the show. In today's episode, I sit down with my good friend, Peter Din. We both attended UC Davis at the same time and have been friends and training partners ever since meeting. He currently works as an associate marriage and family therapist in Sacramento, California, helping all sorts of folks in the area. Please enjoy the episode. What's up, Peter? How you doing?
Oh, what's up, Kurt, man? Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen you in a minute, dude. I mean, at least since I got married, which was like 3 months ago.
Dude, you're married. It still doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah.
How active would you say that you're in the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like you're the one throwing all the silverbacks or something like that? Like, what level of involvement do you think you are? 0 to 10?
In the breaking scene?
Yeah.
Oh, dang, dude. It's low. It's probably below 5.
Okay.
But I don't think that's a good thing. But I think it's just kind of how my life has put me. Because I'm like older at this point. I mean, when I was young, let's say 18, there wasn't really anybody my age now, 32, that was really still in the scene. Maybe like a few people, very few handful. Now that I'm this age, there's a lot more of us around. Yeah. But I guess, and I don't know why that is, but I think maybe it comes from the whole community being a little more connected through social media and whatnot. Yeah. But I guess being used to that, and I guess being at the age where you got a lot of other stuff going on in your life, breaking or at least the breaking scene kind of takes a back seat to a lot of that stuff. Not that breaking is not a big part of my life, because I go and practice very religiously all the time, but I treat it more as like a therapy exercise and a way to stay in shape and a way to like really stretch my creative mind rather than train my skills to like be the best and battle everybody. And so I've always treated breaking as like this kind of mental exercise to kind of fix all the holes in my life in a way. I mean, there's obviously holes in everybody's life all over the place. And me as an engineer, someone who works in that kind of world, you stretch your brain completely differently than as a creative dancer. And so the holes that leaves in me, breaking always fills, and it obviously fills a lot more than that too. I mean, if my job was to break, I would need something to fill in the holes, which, academics, engineering, mathematics, stuff like that, nerdy type of stuff, that fills in those holes. And so I think it's a good marriage of activities. Yeah. But anyway, so I've always used breaking as kind of like a therapeutic exercise. And that's a lot of why I wanted to talk to you, because I think there's a lot of therapy in using creative endeavors to heal and maybe maintain your mental relationship, or I don't know, your health.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. What I noticed with breaking, I use it for some similar things you say. Some of mine is, and I love this word, I know you know, because I've been saying it all day, breaking grounds me. For anyone that breaks, that also refers to ground power, grounds me. Yeah. But in the sense where, tell me a few things you know about mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Yes.
Like in, I guess,
whatever you know.
Well, I guess what's your definition of mindfulness, I guess, that you're going for? 'Cause I can think of a couple things.
So let me hear yours. Like, one thing you know about mindfulness is...
I mean, probably the first thing that comes to mind would be, man, I'm trying to say it without saying mindfulness, is being aware of something. And yeah, I guess keeping it in the forefront of your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being aware of what's going on right now. Many times I can imagine people being stuck in their minds, breaking in life where I gotta do this. Damn, I don't have this. Man, when I was younger, I used to could do this. Blah, blah, blah. Or later, I can't wait till I have this. And when I'm breaking, I don't have time for that because I have to be present, or else, what do we say when we used to practice at David? Hey, just don't die. like, hey, stick that or you'll probably die. Like, I know that was extreme of us to say it, but it made sense. And
it made you go for the gusto, though.
Yeah, it made you go for the gusto, and then it put me in a position where I had to be, if not 100%, like 90 is the high one 90th percentile. That's high, 80, 90 percentile.
Is it 85th?
85th.
I don't know. Yeah,
so something, whatever. So you got to stay in those higher percentiles of awareness, and where awareness is in the body. Like in my practice, many people clients come in, and they're in their minds. Yeah. They're in their minds, they're thinking, overthinking. I gotta do this again. I have to do this. I'm not doing this. I want to be this. Well, when you're in your body, you can only be aware of how things taste. So if you eat shit when you crash your move, oh, you know what that tastes like. My wrists and shoulders feel a lot of pain. So being cognizant of, ooh, that hurts my wrist. Ooh, that hurts my shoulder. Let's not do that. Let's ease that. How can I do that more effectively? Music, that's sound right away. Like, I have to be present. Is there a beat there? Do I want to be offbeat? Like, you making all these choices. So we talked about hearing so far. We talked about our what do you call touch? Oh, touch. You gotta worry about touch, and then you worry about sight. That's your spatial awareness, right? When we're battling, who are battling? Who do we see? Where do I see my foot in relation to my chest, my everything? So that's three senses. I don't know how you could fit taste in, but maybe the taste of victory. I don't know. And then what's the last one? Let's see. We have sight,
smell,
and smell.
Smell victory.
Yeah,
or you smell them stank ass Bboys.
Yeah, because you know when we stress, we do the stress sweat.
Yeah.
And you're like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so maybe taste and smell aren't exactly in there, but yeah. What's therapeutic? What can be therapeutic about it is you have to be present. It takes you out of your mind. So that's the therapeutic part.
Actually, one thing I think this connects to this is it was something that Poe One told me was that the reason he likes the word B-boy is because you're letting your inner child come out to play. You're not a B-man, even if you're, I think, how old is he, 40-something?
Yeah.
He's a man, but he's not a B-man. He's a B-boy because he's taking himself out of his adult responsibilities and saying, let my inner child come out to play.
Oh,
and that's
my gosh.
That's what kind of like helps him kind of patch up everything in his life, I think.
And
I think that's really interesting.
And it's about being novel, right? Like, you find who find things novel? Kids.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. B-boys, B-girls. Oh, crap. That was amazing.
No, this kind of ties into like a lot of the work that Vince does. Vince being my brother, who has his YouTube channel, he teaches, and everything. A lot of the people he teaches are like special needs kids.
Yeah.
And some of the most interesting things that he says is that a lot of these kids, you know, they got troubled lives and whatever, a lot of difficulties at home and stuff, and they can easily go down a bad path without the right, you know, mentors around them. And he finds that some of the most interesting thing that happen is he lets them just be kids in his classes. He's like, you know, here's what breaking is. Here's some music to dance to. Here's some moves. I'm showing you the tools, how to do it. Now, here, I'm going to play some music. You guys go on that side. These guys go on this side. And you guys are going to battle and just have fun. Don't worry. Don't think too much about it. If you want to try a move, do it. If you want to do a new move, do it. If you don't want to do any of those moves and do something else, just go for it. Let your inner child play. And they're out there doing that, having the time of their lives. And then he says they go home, and he's finding that a lot of their home life is kind of being solved by that in a way. Yeah. I mean, a lot of things at home still need to get fixed, but at least the difficulties that they're carrying over into school that's making them maybe not do so well in school, those things are getting solved because they're having a great time coming to school, because they know that not only are they going to learn a lot, they're also going to get to let their inner child play too. And it's encouraged for them to do that. It's encouraged to let their creativity come out.
And it also lets them like mess up too. Like,
it lets them mess up. Yeah,
they're gonna try things and be like, I don't really like this, and they're practicing choice over, because when you're on a dance floor, you're constantly making choice. You know,
and I think failure, creativity are all very tied together, and I think kids learning failure early and understanding that failure is not as bad as people make it out to be. It's actually a good thing,
and it's a necessary part of the process.
It's an opportunity to learn. It's necessary part of the process. Is a good skill to learn, and what do you know? They're not learning it through anything else at school or traditional school. They're learning it through breakdancing.
Yeah,
because
through play.
What they're doing through playing. Yeah, exactly. They're coming to school playing and being encouraged to let their mind wander, let their body wander to cool new dimensions that they didn't know existed, and they're encouraged to do that. And when they fall down, you know, one of the cool things about breaking is a lot of moves come from falling down. You go like, oh man, I fell down, but it kind of looked cool. Let me do that so it doesn't hurt next time. Yeah. So then you do that, and you're like, well, I fell and learned a new move now. I mean,
and it teaches them how to reflect on that skill. Like, okay, that hurt.
Yeah, definitely. But I always make this joke actually with people, because they ask me, you know, you got an interesting style, what do you call it? And I always thought that was a dumb question, but then I actually started goofing around and making a joke about it and saying I call it floping, because it's like taking your flops and flowing with them. And essentially I've just built my whole style from that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hopefully it doesn't all look like a flop, but it's like,
you're still in my book, and whoever, because when you're at Davis, we nicknamed you the ultimate flopper. I don't know if you ever remember that, but you're the ultimate flopper. Like, air flops. He went for an air flare. He didn't hit it, but he didn't crash.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't exactly.
But see, and it was like, and then you do that, and then you turned it into a different move, and then you just kind of went with it, and now it's its own move.
Yeah.
You know?
You do it enough, and then people recognize that, oh, that's what he does.
And then you keep training and actually learn how to air flare, and now you got two moves. You got the air flop and the air flare.
Yeah.
Cool, I got two moves. And it all came from letting your mind wander and also hard work. So, yeah.
It's the spirit of play, man. Like,
it is, yeah.
I can't stress that enough. And I also understand how scary it is, though.
It is scary. It's
like to play.
It's fearful.
Yeah, and then us as adults, I mean, I can't.
It's discouraged as an adult to fail.
Yes.
It's discouraged as an adult. I mean, I think a lot of the adult world is set up to discourage creativity.
Yeah.
Like you go to work and you go, oh, I want to try something new. No, stick by the book. It's more efficient. It's more profitable to do it this way.
It's tried and true when it's not true. That's crazy.
Yeah, and in a way, the business model works well with that.
Yeah.
But I think it also damages the tools, which are
us.
Personnel. Yeah.
Yeah.
People doing the job.
It dulls us real quick.
It dulls you. Yeah. Whereas your creativity lets you use your knowledge to do cool new things and maybe gain a better understanding of stuff. I mean, like I said, my style is built from flopping and flowing out of it. Flowing from flopping.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it's like I'm encouraging myself to explore new things and then build something out of that. Yeah.
Exploration, man. That's what whoever came to the US and stuff did, right? Just explore the frontiers. And we're exploring the frontiers of our bodies, of our minds. Now it's going super vague, but it makes sense. It makes sense. Dude, the adult world. You said earlier that when we were younger, there weren't many people past 30 that were breaking. How is that? Like what goes on through your mind when you're thinking that we got like Morris, Gravity, us, like just still going, whether or not we're competing, but we're still going, we're at practice, still all those guys from Japan in their 40s still hitting like the craziest power.
I think it's because
that's amazing, dude.
Breaking is, I mean, obviously it's an art form, but along with art forms come, the quest to express yourself, and that is deeply rooted in us as human beings. Yeah. This is something that we always want to do as human beings, and so I think you get to an age and you're like, oh, I don't necessarily want to compete anymore, but I also can't get away from this thing because it provides this outlet that I need in my life as therapy, or it's part of my life to really like keep my life together. And I mean, I can't imagine myself not breaking. Mm-hmm. If I wasn't breaking, there'd be a lot of holes to fill. I mean, because I love moving around and stuff, so I need to have something that fills that hole. I need something that fills my creativity hole. Yeah. Maybe it's painting or making music or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think breaking beautifully like collects all that stuff together.
Yeah, you keep mentioning things about holes, and so that got me wondering, what is breaking filling for me exactly? I wanted to say something like creativity because honestly, that sounds fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And now thinking about it, because at practices, first, I think of it as discipline for myself because.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a martial art, dude. It really is. I mean,
like, what's it? I don't actually know the definition of the martial art. I don't really know the definition of that. I don't even know what martial means.
I think it comes from like military. Yeah. I mean, because it's like combat.
Okay.
And I guess it's the art of combat, really. But
when you say like,
I mean, I'm not saying martial art as if it really is one, but it's so damn similar.
Yeah, like it takes discipline, it takes practice, and I know when I go to practice, there's a few sets, and sometimes not even sets. I just go there and I just practice my power moves, and sometimes I don't do combos. Mm-hmm. And like right now, the last 3 months, I mean, or however long, we talked to Jihad and I talked to Alex, and I'm only training my flares. That's it. And then knowing that I'm going in there and doing that over and over and over, I know there's people that come to me like, yo, Pierre, you can get so much better if you're doing this. And then it's giving me the opportunity. Going to practice and doing the same thing over and over and over is giving me the opportunity to, one, show myself that I am able to discipline myself. Show myself that when someone comes over, and I respect them and say, hey, yo, Peter, you should do this to be a better b-boy, and then I can say no.
Yeah.
I'm practicing saying no and doing, and it also gives me a chance to give a fuck about what I want to give a fuck about, because we don't have that many fucks to give.
No,
you know?
it's a finite amount.
It's a finite
Something
amount.
everyone needs to realize.
And you
really
lose
have a
more
finite
and more
amount.
every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it's a finite amount. Like again, you can only give, say, 5 every day.
Yeah.
And you only have a limited amount of days, so it's ticking down. So really, I mean, I think calling it a fuck is funny, but think of that as like currency.
Yeah,
you have a bank,
yeah,
and it doesn't get really replenished that
fuck
much.
Currency.
It's
the currency of fuck.
The fucks of giving fucks. Yeah,
dude.
Exactly.
Like like you just gave me the visualization that when I was younger, I had so many. I gave a fuck about so many things. And all those fucks, the font is Times New Roman. And as the years went by, the amount of fucks decreased, and the font got cooler. So I went a little bit to Comic Sans, then I went a little to Gothic. Now I think I'm at like Arial Black. Like it's simple, but not too simple. It's still a little professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little professional, a little fun, and
you said it. It's a little professional. It's a little fun.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah,
dude.
That
wasn't my idea, by the way. That was I think Mark Manson, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. I just it's a funny book, dude.
Yeah, no, I want to read that book.
All right, I'll send it to you.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I used to do martial arts a long time ago. I did Taekwondo for about 10 years before I ever braked, and one of the reasons I stopped doing that, I mean, I always loved it. But I got to a point where it felt like such a thing where everyone was telling me what I needed to do, what I have to do. And that was when I used to skateboard. I mean, which, you know, that the world of skateboarding is very like anti everything, like do whatever you want. Super counterculture. And so it was fun. Yeah, it's counterculture. And I always was really drawn to that. But it didn't quite fill all the voids for me. And then when I found breaking, I was like, this fills every void for me. And it's very counterculture. It's encouraged to do whatever the hell I want. And so where martial arts was failing me a little bit, breaking filled that void. And this was before I think mixed martial arts was really up in the scene, because I know mixed martial arts now, they're like, okay, what is effective. And I think that's more so what I wanted to go towards. But I think breaking offered me a lot of creativity, because it was just like, now I'm coming into a world where there's a move, you know, like say I just crashed and and I said, oh, that crash kind of looks cool, let me try to make it.
Yeah. And
I just keep working at it, practicing it, and now it's a move that never existed before.
Yeah.
So it created this. It let me make. It let me make stuff, much like how painting is.
Yeah.
But it's an active thing where I can get out that freaking, like, you know, young man aggression out onto something, and so it really filled in all the holes for me, and that's what drew me to it. And so like once I found it, and I found the group of people I wanted to do it with, I was just like, dude, I don't know if I can keep doing martial arts, because this is what I want to do, is breaking. This is the real martial art for me. Yeah. It's, you know, I mean, I was never too into fighting. I always like, you know, I always thought that violence was not so good, but I liked martial arts because it at least teaches you how to handle a situation. Yeah. But for the most part, I don't want it to even go to that point. I don't want it to get violent. And so when I saw breaking, I was like, you know what, this is giving you that combat relationship in a battle, but you're not throwing hands at people. No one's in danger. Obviously back in the day, there used to be some situations at jams where people were fighting and stuff, but I don't encourage that. But I think having a competitiveness between two people or two groups of people is a good thing to have. And it provided that for me. And yeah, that's what I was drawn to. And so like, I just kept going with it, and I'm still in love with it as I was back then.
Yeah.
I'm not so into the scene as I was before. And that's, obviously because I have different things in my life and I maybe can't dedicate as much time to competing and whatever.
Your relationship to breaking has evolved to another state.
It evolved to something else, but very much so, my love for it is the same. Yeah. In fact, it's bigger.
Yeah, it's a more nuanced love now.
Yeah,
like it's not so one variable anymore. Like when anyone, I notice when I think Jordan Peterson said it. Anyone can make an argument for one variable. I love breaking because it's this. I love breaking because it's this.
But there's multiple variables.
Yeah, and when you get to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, I hate it. I love it. Breaking makes me sad. It also makes me happy. It turns me on, turns me off, breaks me off, teaches me things, teaches me bad things and bad habits. Yeah. But it's all of that. Like, there is not...
There's lots of things to tweak in it for sure and to play with.
It's a multivariate thing, as is many things in life. And
everything, dude.
Everything. And
everything worth doing is probably like that.
Yeah, and then to be able to step back and go, whoa, as long as we've been in this dance for like over a decade already, approaching 2
decades.
Yeah. Oh my. Okay, thanks for making me feel dated anyway.
No, yeah.
I'm trying to be all like...
I don't know how you are with it. I don't really count years, but then somebody asked me recently, like, how long I've been breaking. I was like...
I usually just give my age. But
yeah, right? And then I started counting. I was like, shoot, dude. It's like almost 20 years.
Yeah, for me it's 15-ish, 15, 16.
Is it? No, dude.
Because I didn't start really until 2002, 2001. So, like, I came late.
No, because that's like around when I started.
And I was around 15.
So it's like 17, 18
I'm 30.
years, dude.
I'm 33. Holy
dude, it's like 17, 18 years, dude.
I'm trying to keep myself young, all right?
Yeah. No.
Holy crap. Yeah, it's 17, 18.
Yeah, we started around the same time.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Right?
But
I think that was the same thing that happened to me when I was like, oh, yeah, I've been breaking like 10 years. And they're like, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. Hold on. 15? No, that still doesn't make any sense. Oh, my God. It's like not too many years off of 20. Like, shoot.
It really isn't. Oh, my gosh.
But yeah. But, and I'm not trying to say that we're some kind of OGs or anything. But like,
I still feel when people say like, oh, you're old school. I'm like, no, I'm middle school, if anything. And I stay there. That's it.
I'm just me. I'm not trying to be an OG and anything. I mean, in a way, I'm not even like looking for respect, really. I've always just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
That's just what.
And that's where the respect comes from.
Like,
Like I have my ideas about breaking, but again, what I notice with my crew, Uncomfortably Fresh, whatever we talk about, it can be connected to breaking, but we focus on life skills. When you practice, are you disciplined? When you're entering jams or you're doing a move, is it intentional? Can you reflect back and think about what you said earlier, Kurt? It's effectiveness. And then when you think about effectiveness, what thing is effective? What are you trying to be effective at? For me personally, I think it's effective when things don't hurt. Like it's an age thing for me. I know some people say age, like I don't think about age. Age is just a number. I can understand where it's coming from, that no matter how old you get, you can do things. I also believe in balance, and I need to know the limitations of age so I can effectively do what I want to do. I can't just huck and chuck anymore. Now I have to rely on angles way more than I had to before. Like,
it's taught you how to be more precise with everything.
Yes,
that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
I've always thought of myself as somewhat precise, but it wasn't until like more recently that because of all these injuries I've gathered through my life, it makes it hard to do a lot of stuff, and it forced me to really like think of every little position that I'm putting my knees, my elbows, my shoulders, so that I don't injure myself. And so what I found myself doing is running through all the moves I have slowly, perfecting every angle, then doing it a little bit faster, doing it a little bit faster, and then kind of like doing it at the speed it's supposed to be at, and just being very mindful of that. And over the years of just doing that, building habits about that, it's helped me really gain better precision
and fine tune.
Yeah. And
Like
so
you are now a high end speaker, not some like.
It's funny, one of my friends, Joey Chaotic. I don't know if you know him. Yeah, I was practicing with him. It was like a couple years ago, but he called me a ninja, and I was like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And he's like, "Dude, you break silently." And I was like, "What the heck does that even mean?"
You do, because you slip and slide.
Yeah, it's like I slide around, and I've always been very like careful about where I'm putting my foot.
Very intentional.
Yeah, very intentional. And I didn't really notice that until he said that, and I was like, "Oh yeah." And actually, that's the thing that I've really been working on. Not to be silent, but to be precise, and the silence kind of came with that.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was really funny that he said that. And
like, that's when you know you do it effectively, because look at trickers. There's some that's like boom, 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 triple. But then some you're just like, whoo, whoo, whoo. You're like, dude, is he not
floating?
Is he not punching the ground? Because how the hell is he getting that much height? He's just learned to hone his like
momentum.
Yeah, he has that gravity belt on. Maybe he took off his 23-pound ankle weights or whatever.
He came from the future where they have actual gravity belts and just came to the past and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna F all these trickers up."
Yeah, he has helium. He has helium suppository pills that he puts in his ass.
He's like, "I'm about to win a competition today. All right, bottoms up."
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh shoot, I'm going too high," so he'll squeeze his ass a little hard, his sphincter, so he'll pop one and he'll lower.
Oh my god,
dude! Like,
that's funny.
Like on those things about doing things that are past superhuman limits. I know someone at there was someone at practice at Dynasty, and I respect what he says. It's really awesome. He mentioned things about like no limits. Like there's no limits to the human, this and that and this and that. I respect that view when someone says we have no limits. I also see a side where there's a beauty to limits, because like the other day, like or the other time, me, you, and Livix was talking about death, and when you know your limit, you get creative. And the prime example I use, and I know not everyone gets it, but I think you might, the Super Nintendo. That is my go-to. They are only 16-bit. If it's anything else, someone correct me. They are only 16-bit. The PlayStation came out while the Super Nintendo was there, and whoever was working on the Super Nintendos went, "No, I want to push it. I want to push it." And what happened? Donkey Kong Country came out. Killer Instinct came out. How the hell did they manage to get 3D onto a cartridge? They added a chip into the cartridge. That's cool. And it's not true 3D. And they were able to find a way to mimic 3D. Like, that's where I think true creativity, true creativity. I think a high level of creativity can come from when you are hold into another one. Iron Man, when he built his Mark I suit, he didn't have shit, right? In the movie, he was just
in the hole or whatever.
And because he was in the hole, he figured out something truly amazing. Because you had to get creative with what was at hand. Yeah. And then with your injuries, you said, I got to get creative.
I learned backspin because of a torn meniscus. I couldn't do anything. And I was like, I was all sad and stuff. And then I just like laid on my back. I was like, well, this doesn't hurt. And then I just started like spinning around. And I was like, okay.
I remember that time.
This crap.
Because that time when you were practicing backspins was the time that I tore my rotator cuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I never had like legit windmills because I was all air flare stuff.
Yeah. And
then you got backspins. I got windmills. And I was like, dude, like, we got to get creative. I need to spin.
No,
I need to spin.
I think the limitations, when you embrace them, it almost gets rid of the limitations.
Yes, through the limitations, you surpass that limit.
It's
when you remove the limitation, you think, well, I don't have anywhere to go. Or you're aimless. You know what I mean?
You respect it. It's like you recognize it and you go, I respect that, and so let me find this way around it in a creative way, but I'm respecting it. It's there. I can't. It's something that I have no control over. I'm going to do everything. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do, but I'm respecting it. It's there.
Yeah, and every time you get close, you push it a little. You're like, ooh, what if I? Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
oh.
Well, you're not pushing it. You're pushing yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See. So maybe when someone says no limits, you know what? They're essentially saying the same thing. It's a more simplified version, and it makes sense. Like to get your point across, like what we were talking about, like earlier, about selling a pitch. We got to keep it simple. We got to keep the details out. So when someone maybe told me no limits, that's the basic form of it. Mm-hmm. But when we write our 10-page, then we go into all this. So yeah, we're all saying the same thing, man. Like Livik yesterday when he was saying, you just got to find his passion. He's got to find his passion so that he can
with his cousin?
Yeah, something like that. And I was saying value. And then I was like, remember the thing I said about the communication, 65% body language, 35% delivery, and then 7% content.
That's what communication is composed of.
Yeah, communication is composed of. And me and Livik said, he said passion, I said value. But we knew what we meant because of the delivery. Mm-hmm. Like, we didn't need to correct each other.
Yeah.
Like, we got to a point where, like, hey, we're saying the same thing.
It is. Yeah, it is.
We got 5 more minutes left, man. How you want to end this? You want to do a relearning?
Yeah. Well, so can you explain what a relearning is?
Okay, sure. So in my practice, I usually end my therapeutic sessions with a relearning, and it's a way to just summarize, consolidate everything that you've talked about in the last hour and a half in our sessions, and it helps give you something to walk away with. It keeps it reasonable. It keeps it manageable, because sometimes when you talk for an hour, 2 hours, that's a lot of content. You're like, how could I remember all that? And this is a type of meditation too. It's a type of mindfulness. Mm-hmm. It hones in on what's important at the time. Mm-hmm. And I give choices, because we need a little bit of choices. And anyone can do this. You can do this at home. It's an option. Anyone wants to try it. It's a very short form of therapy. Meditation. You just start with one thing I learned, or one thing I relearned, or if that's too hard, one thing I noticed. And you start with one thing. It doesn't have to be the thing that stuck out the most. It doesn't have to be the most important thing. It's just one thing. Kurt, you want to try it out first?
How about we both do it? Okay. I'll do mine and then you do yours.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Dang, we talked about a lot.
Start by saying it. You're in your mind right now. Let's get into your body. Start by saying one thing
One thing I relearned. Is where creativity comes from.
And that helped me what?
And that helped me align my life to be more creative.
Thanks for that. One thing I learned about myself today, about what breaking actually means to me, is the discipline. Mm-hmm. And knowing that I use breaking, one of the reasons I use breaking as a form of discipline is I feel like I lack and or need it in some areas, and by practicing it in breaking, it just spills over into other areas. And I only noticed that after our talk today. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can second that for sure. I want to change mine. No, I'm just kidding.
Here we go.
I'll co-sign that.
Okay, we can co-sign.
Yeah, I'll co-sign yours.
And then another way that I end session, in addition to the learning, now we even consolidate even more. Kurt, you said it beautifully when we had coffee this morning, when you were like, breaking, you want to make a sentence, like there's a topic, there's a whatever, everything in there. Then you realized, hey, sometimes you can just say a word. When you write an essay, you read a story, sometimes they just write a word. Damn. That's one word.
Yeah.
So let's end today's thing with a word. What's your word, man?
I have 2 words, but I'm trying to condense it into one. But I don't know if that word exists.
Hey,
you can create one.
Hey, you're new at this. You can create it. You can hyphenate it. It's up to you. You got choice, man. It's your choice.
Continued learning with a hyphen in the middle.
Continued learning. Okay. Mine is transparent.
I see.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. This was good, dude. Yeah. No, I think we learned a lot, and this is kind of why I wanted to create this show, is to like document conversations like this, natural conversations about things that we care about, and things that we learn from, and help others maybe learn from it too. Hopefully people out there got something from this conversation, as I think we both did. So
yeah, man.
Thanks Kurt. A lot for that.
No, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.